I was born into a musical whānau. My brothers and my mother, they were a part of Tū Whare Toa FM. And I think it was around about the 90s.
Being such a strong whānau, I te ao waiata, I te ao pūhoro, what did a jam session look like?
It looked a lot like whakakotahitanga. We had the guitarists who were more often my tuakana Cannon and Jake, my mother, my uncle Reti coming in to sing their waiata. My dad loved to play raku, harmonica. He was a bit of an all-rounder, I must say.
To be a fly on the wall in your whare, growing up, eh?
This is our oranga.
That's right. Katia kei te whānau, it is your On Kaupapa podcast, my favourite podcast. We get to talk about anything and everything in detail. And hey, today we are talking music. We are talking oro Māori, oro atua. We are talking new music from ia. And we've got the kahi here. Ke konei tō tātou tuakana, taku tuakana. Nau mai haere mai ki tēnei punua pāpāho ko On Kaupapa te ingoa, tēnā whakamara mātu. Ki te iwi e whakarongo ana, e mātakitaki ana tō ingoa, no he anō hoki koe.
Ei, tēnā koe te kahi. O ti rā tātou e mātakitaki mai nei, pākari mai nei. Koe tēnei, he uri o hi kōrero, o turumākina, tururangi tukua, tatu atu rā ki a rauhoto, ki a te rangi ita, ki tētahi atu wai, he peka e hono ana i ahau ki roto o te tairāwhiti, Ngāti Rāhiri, Ngāpuhi, hakoreti ahau. Mihi ana.
Oh, tāhua e rā whakapapa, I think we share over 80% with all those hapu that you named. He anō, te prata. You know, we're talking waiata, we're talking oro, we're talking pūhoro. Tell us and walk us through your history of music.
Ai, wow, me tīmata ki te tau waru te kaumā ono, that was when I was born.
Waru te kaumā ono, I'm 90.
Oh, you're
1990, yeah, both millennials, eh? the saviours of the world, they say.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
Gee.
There's a bit of a claim right there.
Hey, there's a bit of responsibility there.
That's it.
Maku e piko tērā hai papa. But no, yeah, it was in the 80s. And I was born into a musical whānau. And I must say, music was all around me with my tuakana, both my parents, their siblings. It was everywhere around us, from the music they loved to listen to all the way across to the music they composed. And then, of course, there's the whakapapa that grounds us here in Tūrangi, connecting to our koro waere mana, to our matua takuira, you know, and all of those waiata that we sung growing up in Kura, you know. And I must say that was my whare wānanga, I guess, was te whare o Tūrangi tukua, and singing all of our... I want to say anthems, and then of course my brothers and my mother, they were a part of Tū Whare Toa FM at that time, and I think it was around about the 90s. And so I remember at the age of 3 to 4 being carried over to Atiro Road, where they had the first Tū Whare Toa FM, and watching them all as kaupapa back then. It was a huge influential time, and I was drenched in waiata. Fast forward to our move to Waikato. That, I think, was when I started to experiment with composing, writing lyrics. I think the first waiata I ever wrote was at my kura tōku mapi maurea on Silverdale Road. Shout outs to all my kaiako, whātangi wai, whā ngāringi, all of you fellas. And I actually wrote a waiata with a really good bro of mine. His name was Tūroa Johns, and there was another one, Mita Murua and Manakiao, and we wrote a rap in te reo. And that was the first time I ever had the opportunity to write it. And I remember the feeling of, I love this. This is really a buzz for me. And how old was I? Oh, jingos. Waru pēr iaua wā iwa? Yeah, it was a really, really fun experience for me, and I didn't stop from that point on.
To be a fly on the wall in your whare, growing up, I love waiata, I love music, and I'm all about a jam session. What does a jam session look like with the whānau in those earlier days, those influential days? And I'm so proud to hear that this whare had a big influence as well on your journey when it comes to waiata and to music. Being such a strong whānau, I te ao waiata, I te ao pūhoro, what did a jam session look like? What did you do? What did the cousins do? Who did what? Yeah. What type of kōrero happened and banter happened during that time?
Ai, kia ora. Wow, gee, me ruku ki te puna o mahara, bro. Well, I can safely say it looked a lot like whakakotahitanga, ki roto i ngā whakareanga, and whether you were a tiny little kōhunga or you were the pakeke of the whānau, everyone just jammed together and were open to jamming together. We had the guitarists who were more often my tuakana, Cannon and Jake, very, very proficient guitarists. In fact, I can walk around the streets today and people will go, "Oh, you're Jake and Cannon's little brother, eh? The guitarists." You know, it's like there's that legacy there. And then there would be my mother, my uncle Reti coming in to sing their waiata. My dad loved to play raku, harmonica. He was a bit of an all-rounder, I must say, and a very supportive man. And he was the type of man that could see your talents and bring them out of you with, kupu kipa, whakatena, in a way that was made a young Reti feel like he did have a voice, feel like he could have a play on Dad's harmonica. He could just tap away in the background while there was the big jam session. What were those waiata? Well, they ranged from everything in the soul world, reggae. We were big on a lot of old school R&B. My tuakana, being from the 80s and 70s, they loved their hard rock and metal. So there was a lot of that. And that's a very guitar-centric type of waiata, the heavy metal and rock. So we had a Guns N' Roses, a Metallica. So I guess you could say there was a huge variety of musical genres floating in and out of our whare. If you ever went to Nan's house, you're listening to Engelbert Humperdinck, you're listening to Prince Tuiteka, Peter Poser, e rātu kai waiata o ngā ono te kau, whetū te kau tau, in the 60s and 70s. So, it's just...
Very rich, eh? Very rich in all the different layers of the fabric of te ao waiata. Hey, all the foundations right there for whatever genre you wanted to pick up in your trajectory of te ao waiata, te ao pūhoro. I want to pick up on pūhoro Māori. You talked about your days at Tōku Māpihi, and you talked about how te reo Māori and te tito i ngā waiata i te reo Māori became like a core blueprint of the passion of writing waiata. And that's a really big part of this hikoi. Another really big component to what I see and hear with the mahi that you do around waiata is the pūhoro Māori component. When did that come into play? Where did you pick up those pukenga?
Ai, kia ora. And it was then during the time at Tōku Māpihi Maurea. My mother was working up at Te Whare Wānau o Waikato, and she had some really good mates up there who were very passionate about the revitalisation of, firstly, te ao Māori, and then secondly, the different aspects of te ao Māori, be it kapahaka, be it te reo, be it te taha wairua, o tira ngā pūhoro Māori. And those characters frequented our whare a lot. We had carvers, we had instrument makers, we had, obviously all of them were practitioners. And some of these people were people like Matua Bernard Makaware, rangi, skipper, keeper now, I believe. There was Matua Hedley, Melbourne. There was also Matua James Webster. And so these Matua, and also my whaia who was in that kahui pūhoro, were on a huge journey to rediscover these taonga, te okoro hanga o enei taonga, and also the tikanga and application of tikanga through these taonga. And I was there, a fly on the wall, as you mentioned earlier, experiencing all of this. Now, as a 10-year-old, Reti was very much interested in learning how to play, learning how to whakatangi, to be able to, you know what it's like. You look up to mum and dad. They're the biggest pillars in your life, and you wanna do what mum and dad's up to. So I looked up to my mum. I looked up to her effort to breathe new life into her pūtōrino, into her kōauau, into the mahi that she'd done. And the very first taonga that I played was actually one of Matua Hedley's pūkaya. We called him Big Boy at the time. Well, I called him Big Boy because he was massive. And I remember attempting to practice there's a flash. Practice just the way to whakatangi. And during that moment, it kind of piqued the ears of my mum, and she kind of wrapped around the corner saying, "Hey, how did you do that?" And I think it was because I was little, I had little ngutu, and they were able to produce a sound that was quite similar to our whānau from Te Whenua Moemoeā and the didgeridoo. And she calls up Matua Hedley and goes, "Listen to this, bloody boy." And, it was a real hard case anyway. They came over and they showed me, actually, boy, this is the technique that we have been using, and gave me that little wānanga as a rāweke, so that I can, I guess, refine my technique. And so those are my early memories of taonga pūhoro and the various toki within tau pūhoro Māori of those times. And we're talking about 92, 93, 94, around that era.
They are the pioneers there. Tō waimari e te noho ki tērā momo kāre ki te i e nei rā. Engari e mohi anau, during that time, especially in the early 90s, all of the powerhouses of te ao Māori were all coming together, putting a plan, whether it's for te reo Māori, taonga pūhoro Māori, all of those things. And ko koe tērā, fly on the wall. They got to play the pūkaya, and learn from the likes of Hedley. And, when I think of the pūkaya as well, what it represents, it's only right there was the first taonga that you picked up. He whakaara. And this might be a really hard question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is there a particular pūhoro taonga Māori that you resonate with or that pulls you in?
Ka tai ko te pātai ko tērā. I think now, as a composer of taonga pūhoro, anything that comes from the hā ihu is something that really resonates with me. That's something that I've, in more recent years, been able to meditate in. It's something that allows reti to be tau. It's a form of playing taonga that is undescribable. Admittedly, I wish I had the words to be able to explain myself, what it feels like and how it impacts me. But what I can say is, with te hā o te ihu, as I play ponga ihu, as I play nguru, in their various shapes and forms, because there's a variety, there's almost a whānau of ponga ihu. These types of taonga seem to give back to me. It's like they're playing me more than I'm playing them. And it's a beautiful experience. It honestly, it makes me more connected to the oro atua within the taonga compared to other taonga. And I'm not saying, I don't connect with all the taonga, but anything that comes from te hao te ihu through ponga ihu or nguru and the like of those types of instruments, those will definitely be my number ones, my go-tos. Aye.
Man, you've given me so much te wānanga there. I have explored ponga ihu in the past, and it's exactly that. It's like, who's in charge, me or you, or is this a relationship?
Aye.
He wā no, when you are breathing, i a koe e hāna mātou ihu, e tuku ana mātou ihu, it's a different type of a relationship with the taonga. So it was worth asking the question, because I think I've got another wānanga, and I think we need a podcast specifically on taonga pūhoro Māori. I think that there might be a podcast for another day on... Kia ora. Ka hiki nā tōna wā on Kaupapa always. We're going to pivot a little bit and move across to... some of the more modern stuff that you've been doing. We've had Pā Māori, he piko, he tuna, and we have your new waiata, the collective's new waiata that's come out, Rerehua. I want to talk about collaboration. What does collaboration look like in 2026? He rere ke pēa I ngā tau kua taha. E tūwhera nā te ao. Kua pai noa tō toro atu ki tēnei, ki tērā. You can access anybody these days. What does that look like with the music that you do and the stories that you share within your music?
I think it has a lot to do with the connections that we have between us as musicians, songwriters, and that connection has now become online as we are here in this space. It's allowed us to reach out to each other, to find those threads of commonality, and to establish relationships that become fruitful in a way that a waiata, a kiriata, aharane can blossom. And I mean, when we're talking about our recent waiata Rerehua, I remember connecting with the sister Jordan with a Y, firstly through an invitation to Whaia Hinewehi Mohi's Song Hubs, which is in conjunction, I think that's the right word. Oh well.
Hetsika.
In conjunction with waiata anthems. And our time together was brief but awesome. And the kazi being based up in Auckland at that time, actually from Whaingaroa and living there now, but based in Auckland at the time, and then me being based here in Tūrangi, and this distance can be quite tough for people to be able to come together, reach out, connect. But luckily for us, through these hangarau mati hiko, it's allowed us to connect online, collaborate with whakaro and ideas, shoot each other's waiata to each other, and so we can have, good discussions, wānanga about where our waiata might be heading, the content within the kupu. And that's basically, for me, how I view a lot of what we're doing as artists nowadays, as songwriters nowadays, is our ability to reach out to each other, keep in contact with each other online, often brings about a collaboration, and not necessarily in the same regard as Rerehua, where we get to feature on each other's music. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's a reach out and say, Kazi, you did a great job on that last track. Well done. Kia kaha koe. E oke I tō oke. And that stuff's just as important as reaching out and saying, hey, Kazi, jump on this track. And I know that for us today, we used our hangarau mati hiko to make those connections, but I think this is an extension of what our tūpuna used to do when they would go up to their hikurangi and connect with their kazi through taku, through, it's an extension of that type of connection. I believe, and I'm sorry if I'm getting a bit too deep.
Oh, no, kei te marama, because it's, ko te ahuatanga orite ai, it's crazy to think that we have these tools, these modern tools, technology, we still have access to te hiringa matua, that knowing that's come down from our tipuna and tapping into it. And imagine if those two things came together. I would love to see our tipuna in a 2026 context. What will they do? What will they do with the tools that we have, the technology that we have, the connection we have? I would love to see what they would do. And I think what we're currently doing is also pretty cool. So he pai tō whakatakoto I tēnei horopaki, because a lot of the times we don't really think about these things, but for those who are in it like yourself, it's just a day in, day out thing. You're already doing it.
Ai.
Te hikoi. Yeah.
Oke, te oke.
Koea, bro. Oke, te oke. Kōrero mai mo te waiata rei, Reti Hedley. Tell us about this waiata. We've been there with you for Pā Māori, and he piko he tuna as well. And this is the latest one, Reti Hedley. Hea ha te kaupapa o te waiata nei, hea hanga kurahuna o roto.
Ai, kia ora. Wow, kurahuna. It's hard to say te mea kua huna kena. No, seriously, the waiata came about through the reo of our nguru. Last year, I was travelling for 1 full year with my firstborn and my darling Bianca, and was inspired with a particular rangi that came from this nguru. From that, again, going back to this connection online, I reached out to Moitu, because we're a duo in our band Ia, and I showed him this rangi. He was inspired. He could hear a certain kaupapa come from that. We managed to pull together some manawataki, various whakarākeinga o te base, o te rakuraku, building it around this rangi that we found within the nguru. And what came from it was this really funky, almost disco momo waiata genre, and it was just really infectious. So we stuck to it, and most of our collaborations were just Facebook messages, FaceTiming. I mean, I remember having this one kōrero with him where it dawned on me that it was a very playful waiata. It made me want to kani, and I thought of the whare tāpere. And so I called out again online via Facebook. I called Moitu and I said, hey, here's a concept. What if this waiata that made people dance in the 70s and 60s, this momo genre, what if we apply that to a similar theme, but something that our tūpuna would have been doing back in the day? Whare tāpere. This was the place where they got their groove on, where they got their move on, and he loved the whole concept. And so we had this little wānanga. I shared with him what I knew about te whare tāpere. I even gave him examples of our koraua tū whare toa, and how he met Hine Motu over there. I believe the whare tāpere that they met in was over at the Motu River. And he attracted her attention through his kani and his ability to, whakangaho, whakahihiri I te hiri kapo o Hinemotu. And he loved the concept. So there's a little bit of a connection to how we were in the whare tāpere, where we would bring hapu iwi together under the umbrella of ngā mahi a rehia, a tāne rore, and he couldn't praise it enough. And so we pursued that all the way home, and we make references to how our tūpuna used to adorn themselves with katitara mea that were filled with puananga or raukawa berries to attract a mate. So you see all those little references of the whare tāpere in there.
The old school perfumes, eh?
Oh yeah. And they still work today, I'll tell you now. And we got a few of those growing up on our kuia here behind us, Pihanga.
Hey, there's a reason why a hinemihi had a puawānanga lei, eh? To attract to te whā. So the more he'll play rātou, they knew how to woo.
And so that's it. It's about that ability to connect with someone, and whether it was through your ability to dance, to perform, tuku te reo, adorn yourself with the kahukura, with the puananga. That is what we tried to capture within the waiata.
Amazing. That's beautiful. Now, for our whānau who may not know, what is puru? You referenced puru earlier, hahatera. That was the source of the inspiration for this waiata and its vibe earlier on.
Mai te nguru.
Oh, nguru, I got it wrong.
Nguru. No, it's my reo.
He ha tēnei mea te nguru?
Te nguru, man, he taonga tuku iho. Some would say it's a nose flute, but then I've heard kōrero from other whānau who say that it's can be a nose flute as well as a flute that's played similarly to the kōauau. In this waiata, we played the nguru in the same way you would play a kōauau. And it's also the type of instrument that was used in ceremonies outside of music.
Wow.
It wasn't specific to a tune or a melody. And a lot of our taonga are like that, bro.
I have to go back and listen to it again. I have to go back and listen to the texture of the sounds in the background to really pick it up. Now, one of the cool things about this waiata rere, who has the video clip, bro, it's pretty cool. It's upbeat, and you see a whole lot of different vibes coming through with different people, different kaiwaiata, and everybody's saying the words in the music video clip. Kōrero mai mo te whitiata, te haere atu ki whainga roa, te tūhonohono atu o ngā taiohi o ngā rangatahi.
Kia ora. So, Whaingaroa being one of the places that I spent a lot of time as a musician, seemed like an amazing place to capture such a fun and I want to say active.
Active, yeah.
Yeah.
Bombing
fun.
Off the bridge, eh? Doing your manus and...
and those bombings, oh, bro. Oh, that was tough. No, Jingos, do I really want to say this?
Say it, bro.
Oh.
Safe space.
When we bombed, and I'm sure everyone who's ever bombed knows this, you can kind of slap.
Yes.
Oh, Reti had to slap, bro. And I remember, because I had to hold the camera and then jump. And then I had to, try my best to stay cool in front of the camera.
And then slap.
Oh, slap. Now, you can't hear it, obviously, because the music's playing over. But I remember hitting the water and whilst under crying. Like it was like a...
But you're smiling because the GoPro's right there, eh?
Yeah. And then I get up, and if you look at the music video clip, there's a number of whānau that jump with me, including some of our tauira over at Whakarewa Te Reo ki tū wharetoa. Shout outs to my kids. Love you guys. Love you fellas for all of your support and helping us with the music video clip. But when we got up, some of the kids, very excited. We just had a jump, had a bomb. And then I turned to one of my boys. His name's Te Kawau. And I said, my boy. He looks at me and goes, I know.
And it's recorded.
Yeah. I think I even gave him the camera because I just needed a moment to recover. Kia whakarauora no reti. Oh, bro. But that was a fun memory. But the other side of it was also the concept. Yeah, it was something that we cannot take credit for, actually.
No hea te hiringa o te whitiata nei. Where did the inspo come from?
AI.
Oh. Hey,
Legit.
woohoo!
Legit.
Hey, so this is a healthy way, bro, of connecting with AI. Hey?
Yeah. Because we always have good wānanga about, okay, what's the direction for this? What are we wanting to achieve with the visuals? And we were really stumped. We had this, as you said, very fun, uplifting waiata. But if you're familiar with our music video clips, you'll see there's a lot of moody, kind of deep thinking type music video clips. And so when we got to this one, we were very much like, oh, geez, this is new territory for us. We had a taste of it with Pā Māori because we wanted Pā Māori to have a similar wairua. But this one really got us, and I think we had a week worth of wānanga, and at every point we looked at the concepts and the whakaro coming out, and we're like, oh, e tino pauri e te whakaro. So what did our manager / wife say? Let's ask AI. And AI spat out, I think it was 2 or 3 really cool concepts, and the first concept AI said was a selfie-like capture where you're walking around, kani, whakangahu ki te kamera, pass it on to the next person, and everybody sings the kupu into the camera. And we loved the idea, so big ups AI. Please don't turn into a robot and terminate us.
Don't talk about that.
No, don't do that. Make sure you just keep giving us cool music video clip ideas, eh?
Well, this is a very healthy interaction with AI now. It gets a bit scary, and I am guilty of going on AI and looking for those songs that are remixed by AI into different categories. It's actually mind-blowing. It's my jam. You find a Billie Jean and you change it into like a blues type of style, and it's like, whoa, mind-blowing what AI can do. But it's also one of those risky things of potentially AI, taking away a lot of te taha wairua and the creativity of what we all do. Nā reira, it's a very healthy interaction with AI, and e mihi ana ki te pono o ngā kōrero kua horahia i tēnei o ngā rangi. Right, where can our whānau find our new waiata rerehua?
Ki ngā pai tukutuku katoa, we have the Spotify, the YouTube, our Facebook and Instagram. We're not too active on our TikTok, and that's probably a bit my fault. I struggle to stay focused and posting and creating content for that particular app. No, what is it?
Yeah, it is an app.
It is an app.
Social media platform.
Aye. But generally speaking, Spotify, iTunes, that's where you'll get your streams, and Facebook and Instagram is what we use the most.
Mia ana, kia koe tangata pukumahi rau atu koe. Ia mātou kōrero ana I tēnei rau, like, man, he's teaching, he's doing new music, and the Air New Zealand stuff.
The amount of pōtai you have on. Taiwa.
Hey, tātou. Hey, tātou.
We have to.
Yeah.
We have to, because
this
is our oranga.
That's right.
It's tā popo. O te apopo te take.
As a passionate person, I see you. I see what you do. I see the mahi that you do for our rangatahi, for te ao pūhoro, ngā pūhoro Māori, te reo Māori anō hoki, nā reira mihi ana te ngākau kia koe, kei te tuakana. Before we wrap it up, any last words to those who might be watching or listening in?
Well, I guess a big mihi, firstly to Brother Moitu and Bianca. We had some great collaborations in the past year finishing this EP. And then also to all the whānau that we've collaborated with along this journey and the release of our EP Tawhiti, Jordan with a Y, our whānau in the various taiwhanga around the motu, John Messant from the Wardrobe, Matua Pete from Parachute, and then all of the various taringa and whakaro arohaihai that allowed us to kind of reflect and refine our waiata. Firstly, he mihi ana kia koutou. And then secondly, to the whānau who are interested in what we're up to in ia, hey, don't be shy to reach out to us, connect with us. You got any pātai about what we're up to? We're happy to share with you guys our journey and where the waka is heading to next. So I guess to finish on that, I love you fellas all, love each other, and I love you too. I love you too, whare toa.
Well, runga no i nei kōrero mihi nui ana kia koe te tuakana. That's another on Kaupapa podcast done and dusted.